Straight Talk with your host Reggie B. Come on, let's all join in. Free your voice, it's your choice, alright here. Oh, Simply Straight Talk.
What it do, people? What it do? Welcome to Simply Straight Talk. I think that should be your new theme song, Reggie. What do you think?
I like
Welcome
that.
to Simply Straight Talk. Sounds like a dodgy infomercial, doesn't it? I'm trying to sell you medication. Anyway, got off track. Welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of Simply Straight Talk. It's me, your girl, Angelique Franklin. Whoop whoop. And of course, I'm on Reggie Maddox's show. Say hello to the people, Reggie.
Hey, what's going on?
He's like, this girl is crazy. But you already know what it is, so I don't even need to explain. Disclaimer for those who are new, I'm batshit crazy. So, now we've got that out the way. Today's episode is all about rising strong after you fall. There should be epic music. Cue epic music after I say that. You know, when you do the editing, cue. Some sort of Lord of the Rings epic music should play after I say that.
That would be pretty cool.
Rising strong after you fall. Yeah, this is about how to get yourself back up when life knocks you on your ass. You know, how to get back up from them hits, from them punches, how to roll with it. And I feel like this is a subject that's relevant to everyone right now, Reggie, don't you think, with 2020 madness that everyone keeps trying to write off that year like it doesn't exist? It did. It happened, and it's still happening.
Yeah, because people are still trying to recover from lost jobs, relationships, financial, medical.
Deaths in the family,
Yeah.
losses. Yeah, like... It's not like in the you know, the history of humanity we've not faced crises and you know, wars and such. I mean, for God's sake, we had 2 world wars, Reggie. Okay, there were 2 of them. But this is another kind of, this pandemic has hit like in a way that everyone around the world has like joint stories that we can all connect on. Like you said, over job loss. Deaths in the family, changes in relationships, like everywhere around the world. I think there are similar stories of what it felt to be stuck in your house during lockdown, or now coming out of it. Well, we say coming out of it, but it still feels like it's like some sort of post-apocalyptic madness right now. I mean, how did it make you feel? You know, when you first heard that your state or your city was going into full lockdown, what were your thoughts at the time?
I don't think I took it serious. I was kind of happy. To be honest,
Batman. He was like, yeah, I get to be in my cave.
Yeah, I was kind of happy. I was like, okay, it's gonna quiet things down. You know, this will probably blow over in like about a week or 2. Then they'll open everything back up. But then when you started seeing the real impact of like, I start seeing like, okay, people are really dying from this. People are really getting sick, and months in, we're still going through it. Then it's just kind of like, oh crap.
Yeah. I felt over here when, like, I'll never forget. I was working at like a part-time job at the time, me and my partner, and we were due to go in on some shifts to go work, and then we got the text from our bosses to say, "Listen, all the shifts have been cancelled." I was like, "What? Why?" None of us knew why. It was weird. It was like, okay, they didn't explain why, but obviously they knew because they got the government information before we did, but they didn't let us know. And then word started spreading off, lockdown. It was like, what do you mean lockdown? What's this? And then it kicked in, and we were like, oh, and like you, we were like, oh, it's just gonna be for a week. And then 1 week passed, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. We was like, wait, hold on, this shit is real. Is this gonna be permanent? And like a whole year and a half later, people are still wearing masks. There's still 2 meter apart distance social rules. We've got, you know, all these restrictions on travel. We've got all these rules and requirements to go eat in restaurants or go to see a play or go to see a musical event. Like, nothing's gone back to normal at all as of yet. And there's more changes, you know what I mean? And so I feel like everyone has been taking hits, and I feel like the hardest hit that it's taken for everybody, myself included, and I don't want to speak for you, Reggie, but like, is the emotional and mental hit is taken everyone's hit. I mean, exactly. Do you feel like it's hit you in any way?
See, I'm sort
Batman.
See, that's sort of my little thing that I'm not, like, I think for someone who's more social and more actively engaged like with doing things out, it probably hit them much more. People who are like really social, really hanging out. I think it really does hit them harder. What hit me hard was, I think, the business aspect of when you start seeing stores that was like popular and open. Now all of a sudden the windows are boarded up. Like over here, when jobs close down, they put the brown paper in the windows.
Yeah,
And you're seeing like 5 or 6 businesses in a row in one shopping center shut down. You start to think like, wow, there are people losing jobs left and right.
Yeah.
And then we had a real increase in domestic violence in homes, divorce, breakups. So that's when it kind of hit me like, crap, this is not just about, other people.
No,
It's not just about COVID. It's like the personal, like you said, the mental and emotional impact that this is having. And then the whole isolation thing is like, now you stuck with your thoughts. And that thing, for me, that's what it was. It was like, crap, what am I doing with my life? And some people get into a little bit of a depressed state.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Like most people, we all went through things. My 82-year-old father, I've said this before, I'm sure, on previous episodes, but he got ill with COVID, but like seriously ill to the point that they told us when we admitted him to hospital he wasn't going to make it to the end of the week. He did, because he's a feisty Jamaican, and he was like, "You're not telling me when I'm going to die, goddammit." about you telling me it's my time. My dad gave the doctors a middle finger and decided to push it through, but unfortunately the after effect of being ill for so long, he was ill for about 7 to 8 months, is that he now has early onset Alzheimer's. So that's been a massive change. Me and my family, we've had to step up in terms of caring and becoming carers for him, taking a more hands-on role with a man who was seriously independent and really didn't need anybody, in a sense of helping to do day-to-day things. And now he does. He gets forgetful, anxious, worried. I have to make sure I remind him about literally almost everything. And so it's had that effect of watching my father almost die, and now becoming someone completely different. And I'll be honest with you, Reggie, I don't think I ever really fully gave myself time to process it, because it was just one thing after another. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, just changes in my own personal life that knocked me for 6 within my relationship and just friendships and life. And now recently, flash forward to now, I lost my job a month ago. It's like, how many hits? God damn it! How many hits can I take? And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a typical Jamaican person. We strong. We are strong. We are rebellious. We are strong. But you know what? I'm not fucking Wonder Woman. As much as I love to be her, I'm not. I think personally myself, I'm in that state where I'm asking a lot of questions, and this subject for me is very close to home, because this is me right now. I am having to teach myself how to rise after getting hit, taking some hits personally many, many times. Like for you, when you take a hit in your life, like contrast personally wise, what is your kind of typical reaction, would you say, when you go for things? Is it just keep going, put some dirt on it, soldier, keep going, or do you know what I mean? Do you take time to process? What is your usual reaction, would you say?
I think my first reaction is, I always try to assess the situation. Like, okay, what the hell just happened? Like, what the hell just happened? Like, how can I fix this? Then I take a nap. That's the truth. I do.
I'm not laughing because you're crazy. I think that's actually probably the best thing you can do. Hit reset on that bitch.
Yeah.
Pause and rest your mind.
And I take a nap. And then I try to figure out, like, how can I come back from this? Like, what's my next step? What's my next move? Sometimes early on in my life, I had to catch myself, because I was just so good at, okay, boom, took a hit. Okay, let me just do this. And I didn't think about my next move. I just jumped into something. And then I ended up jumping into something. I'm like, okay, how in the hell did I get here? This was supposed to fix my problem, and it's making it worse. Or I was staying stagnant. So then I had to learn to just kind of really sit back. And I call it, like, I always tell people, like, when you watch any sporting event, boxing, football, soccer, do they have timeouts in soccer?
No. You got half time. You got half time.
Okay.
Like, yeah, halfway through the match you do. About a 15-minute break.
Yeah. It's like at some point, even in any sporting event, there is a break. You have to take that break.
Yeah.
And I think for us, it's like sometimes we don't call timeout on ourselves. It's like, okay, let's reassess the situation. I'll use basketball. Like in basketball, when they're playing a basketball game and one team is starting to score a lot of points and they're starting to get ahead, the coach calls the timeout, pull the team together. Look, this is what's going on. Let's reevaluate. Then they use halftime to change their game plan. I would just simply jump into something. If I called a timeout, it was quick. But I never took the time just to reassess, like, what moves worked, what moves didn't work. So I had to learn to kind of sit back and like, okay, let's evaluate what mistakes I made, what warning signs I missed, because I can be a little slow sometimes, especially when I'm in that stubborn mode. Like, Reggie, we're going to fucking get this shit. It's like, when it should be, no, Reggie, sit your ass down.
I feel like that's what comes with age, though, isn't it? I think as you get older, you learn patience. Because in your youth, it's all about now, go, go, go. You're moving at the speed of light, right? You don't give yourself time to think, to consider, to just take stock. You just want to keep going, and you tend to burn yourself out a little bit. And then there's consequences, like you said, because you think you're taking the best action for you, but all you're doing is compounding it and making it worse, right? It's like, hold on,
exactly.
I've just fucked up shit further. Ah! And you're taking the hits from all these sort of rushed choices. I feel like what you said made me think of two things, because I was organized for once, people. I wrote some points down. Discussion points. So what you said leads nicely into one of my points. Well, two of my points on my notepad here. What you said kind of reminded me of two things. Like, when you said take time to evaluate, it's good to ask questions. It's necessary to ask questions. But I think you just need to be aware. And I have to constantly remind, and I say this, a lot of this stuff is, so just a disclaimer, guys, a lot of the stuff I'm going to discuss here is actually a good reminder for me, because I'm presently going through something of trying to pick myself back up. So as much as I'm spouting these words of wisdom, it's also more for me, to be honest with you. If you happen to benefit from it, then hey, everyone's winning. But it's good to ask questions, but I constantly remind myself, you just need to be aware of making sure that you're asking empowering, solution-oriented questions that are like in the pursuit of doing what feels better or good for you. Like, you'll find that often when you get knocked for six, whether you lose a job, you lose a partner, you lose a loved one, you tend to ask questions like, why me? Why? Oh, this sucks. And then it tends to lead on to more disempowering questions that don't provide any solutions. Do you know what I mean? They tend to be kind of focused on the issue, the problem, and not about a solution.
Right.
And that doesn't make you feel any better, because I think if you ask questions like, why me? You don't have the answer to that. Do you know what I mean? 9 times out of 10, you can't answer that. So it's kind of a fruitless, pointless question that keeps you in a really stagnant loop you was talking about. Do you know what I mean? And I think also rising strong, again, a reminder for me, entails deciding to take charge of your story. So you have to decide how the events that you've experienced are defined by you and what they mean to you, and also what you want to do moving forward. But you've got to do this in a loving, compassionate way for yourself. And you, for instance, saying that you have a nap, you hit pause, is a way of actually giving yourself time to just breathe, so that your mind and spirit can settle enough that you can then ask the solution-orientated questions. And I think that's key. And I'll be honest with you, Reggie, that's something I'm only learning to do right now. Patience, little brother. Like, I'm having to have patience for myself, most importantly, to be honest.
Yes.
And that's new for me. Are you very patient with yourself, would you say?
I can be, but I can be very hard on myself as well. Because when I recognize that, like, I'm in a situation, and then I start to think about, okay, because my thing is, like, there's always warning signs. I always believe that there's warning signs. You know, and when I feel like I missed the warning signs, but the warning signs were obvious, I become very hard on myself.
Okay, do you beat yourself up, like, sort of judgment for, like, not spotting the signs, do you mean?
Exactly. Like when you told me, you said you're going to come beat my ass because that one message I sent.
Again, context, Reggie. I need you to stop flinging that statement out there like I'm just some random abusive friend. I said that because you were talking to yourself in a bad way. Okay? People, God damn it. I'm going to whoop your ass for saying stuff like this, is what I'm going to do. Context, people. Give the people context. God damn it. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm hard on myself. Most, I have to say, the average person is generally hard on themselves. It's a rare being who can be consistently kind and compassionate to themselves. Again, we've spoken about it before in different episodes, but it's not something we're taught. It's learned
Exactly.
behavior to be hard on yourself. It's because you've either witnessed your parents talking to themselves like that, or they've spoken to you like that, or in school, wherever. And so we tend to, like you said, either beat ourselves up through judgment of why didn't you spot the signs? You were slipping, man. You weren't paying attention. Blah blah blah. Or you take the beating up yourself that I do, which is get yourself up, soldier. Keep going. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. Stop crying. Crying doesn't fix anything. Like, that's my favorite line, which unfortunately I heard a lot from my dad. And he meant well. He was just trying to toughen me up as a young girl. But unfortunately, you're allowed to feel, whether you're a man or a woman. And you need to feel. It's how you process things. And I think if you stifle that, it's not healthy for you. But often, again, I can only speak for myself as a black person. Like, we're very tough. We don't have time for tears. Do you know what I mean? It's not a luxury as a people we've ever really been given, and therefore we don't give that luxury to our children either. It's a tough world out there. Anybody going to feel sorry for you? So get your shit together. Don't cry. Do you see what I mean? It's the kind of the mantra as a people that we tell ourselves and therefore our children. Yeah. It's a tough world. Things are going to be extra hard for you because of the color of your skin. Buck up. Get moving. Stop crying. And whilst I get the sentiment, and it's not like it doesn't serve a purpose to a certain degree, but unfortunately, living that way every day is not a healthy place to live in mentally and spiritually within yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, I believe that there's something that I'm learning for myself, and let me know whether you agree with this or not. But for me personally, I believe that how you rise after you've been knocked down by life is all determined by how kind you are to yourself. So, for instance, if you're like me and you believe in the notion of doing an action and not feeling solves problems, that's generally the kind of how I used to deal with things. Generally means that I've pushed myself past how I feel and I just keep dragging myself forward without actually acknowledging my emotional injury, which, to be honest, Reggie, is the equivalent of dragging a person who is bleeding out behind you and then wondering why they're dying.
Exactly. It is.
Right? It's like, oh, they've been shot, but let's not acknowledging it. That's okay. Keep going, soldier. You got this. Why are you bleeding out? You bleeding out? What do you mean? It's like, that's what it's like. And I've had to learn that the hard way, that just because I ignore that I feel sad or upset or frustrated, I want to keep going, doesn't actually make those emotions go away. If anything, they fester and turn into like really kind of deep-seated wounds that will find a way out eventually, and usually at a most inopportune moment. Like, snapping at your boss on work after one too many times, you know what I mean, of him saying an annoying thing, like you just snap and lose your shit when actually it's got nothing to do with what he said. You've just regressed and pushed down so many emotions. Do you know what I mean? And now it's exploding.
That's true. And you make a great point, because oftentimes we don't deal with the emotions we're feeling when we do take a hit.
No.
We just kind of like you said, we kind of bury it down. And then when all of these, changed behaviors start to come out, we're angry at the kids, angry at the husband or wife, we're angry at the job. We start to isolate ourselves. Some people may say, okay, I may start to have a few more drinks than normal. They start doing other things as coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Because they're not dealing with the fact that, I took this hit. I'm hurting. I'm not dealing with the pain. I'm not dealing with, like, some people may start to feel like they're losing confidence in themselves.
Yeah.
Or they don't have purpose.
Yeah.
And it's a real struggle. But nobody wants to acknowledge that. Nobody wants to feel like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life. But we all struggle with that. Listen,
right now, all right, listeners, hands up, full open honesty. At present moment in my life, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing right now. I'm a 36-year-old grown woman, and I'm intelligent. Let me just clarify this to y'all. I'm not no dumbass, but I have no fucking clue what I'm doing right now. I've taken one too many hits, and I have not taken the time to really give myself the space to acknowledge it. Like, being raised by my dad has given me so many benefits, but they're probably one of the downsides, unfortunately. And as I said, I don't judge my parents, because you do the best that you can with the knowledge that you have and who you are at that time. And there's no fucking manual on how to be a parent. You're learning as you go along. Right. But unfortunately, with having a very quiet, militant father at times, is that I never give myself time to just feel my emotion. I shut that shit down. I keep it moving. I don't really like to talk about my feelings. And my favorite line is, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm good, when I'm not. But because I'm not very good at expressing myself, I just keep going. But it's not healthy. And I've come to the point where I realize it's not healthy. But where I've taken so many hits recently, and now I've lost my job, where I thought, as the saying goes, if you want to hear God laugh, Reggie, tell him your plans. And I thought I had a plan. But as usual, life lets you know that 90% of life is out of your control. And so I'm sitting here now, presently. I just had my birthday this weekend just gone, and I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And I find myself often up and down in my emotions recently. My poor partner, I keep apologizing to him. He's like, it's okay. You've been through a lot. You're okay. You're allowed to cry. But I keep going, I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. He's like, you're a human being. It's called emotions. I'm like, no. I don't have these things called emotions. I don't know what this is. Like, I'm in such denial about it. But it really has been a learning curve for me. And I read something recently that really hit me. And it said, when we numb the dark, we numb the light. So not acknowledging your emotions doesn't stop them from happening. You just stockpile them until eventually your body intervenes and lets you know you're not okay. It says, shut down the denial or I will shut you down. There is so much wisdom and truth in our bodies. We just need to learn and listen and trust it. And I remember I heard this recently from a book that I'm reading by Miss Brene Brown, and everyone who's listened to the show will know I've quoted Miss Brene Brown on many occasions. Read her shit. She's the shit. But it's true. Me personally, when I don't address my emotions and I act like I'm G.I. Jane, I break out in a rash all over my face. And presently, I'm recovering from a really bad kind of stress rash at the moment, breakout hives on my face, because I'm just used to just keep going. But when eventually it's like, okay, my body's giving me the middle finger. I think I need to slow down. I think I should stop. I think I need to chill. And that's okay. Like, it's okay not to be okay. Do you know what I mean? It's a myth that you're going to be okay all the time. We're not.
And I think people are afraid of not. People are afraid to say, I'm not okay.
I know I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting better at it, but it's still a struggle at times.
It is. I mean, it's a struggle for me too. It doesn't matter how I'm doing. How you doing, Reggie? Great. It's like, because in some ways, to say that you're not okay is almost like actually it is. It's admitting some form of vulnerability.
Yeah, and it's seen as a failure.
Exactly. And a lot of times, depending on who you say it to, if a person doesn't know how to respond properly, they can make you feel worse. Because some people, if you say, how's it going? Let's be honest. 9 times out of 10, when you run into certain people, it's like, hey, how are you doing? And you say, oh, I'm not doing good. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Let me get away from this conversation.
And away from you.
Yeah, because that is not, you're supposed to, no, you're supposed to say, I'm good. I say, that's good. And then we keep it moving.
You're breaking protocol. Dear God, man.
And
how dare you be honest with me?
Yeah, people don't want that.
No.
But I think it's something that people really do need. It's like, it's important to express how you feel, especially when you're not okay. And I know this is coming from the guy who is absolutely sucks at expressing his feelings.
Batman.
It is. It's important that everybody has somebody that you're able to say when they ask you how you're doing, like, hey, I'm not okay today. I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling like this.
Yeah.
So having somebody that you can talk to, it helps. Because for one, you're going to get into this thing of where you start to feel alone. You're going to start to feel isolated within yourself. And you can only wear that mask for so long before that little son bitch starts to crack. It's going to crack. You can only wear that little happy mask for so long before it starts to crack. You're going to be sitting at home at night crying. You can't sleep. You're going to be... Because all these thoughts and all this stuff is going through your head, and you have to verbally get it out to where you can talk to somebody. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to get back up.
Yeah, and if you want to know what it looks like when you crack, just watch the Joker movie. That's some of a bitch you cracked. Okay, and he definitely needed to talk about, to somebody about his emotions. That's what it looks like. You don't want to end up like the Joker, okay,
Yeah.
guys? Watch Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker. That's what it looks like when you don't address your emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though. The thing is, it's like one thing I have learned is you can't just tell everybody and anybody how you feel. Like
Oh,
people
God,
have to earn the right to hear your story, meaning they need to be a safe space that you trust, that they respect you, and preferably a space that you know they're not non-judgmental. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like some people in our lives love us, but unfortunately they're judgmental, and they don't mean to be, but sometimes it's just ingrained in who they are. Those are not safe spaces for you to pour your emotions into, because unfortunately those people are not equipped to handle your those type of you know what I mean, powerful, deep, vulnerable emotions. Do you know what I mean? Because unfortunately most people who are judgmental are very judgmental on themselves, which means they're not a safe space within themselves when they're feeling down, let alone your emotions when you're feeling down. So make sure whoever you're sharing your story with, it's someone that you trust, that you know is not going to judge you, that has an open mind and is very compassionate. Is the key word, is that they're compassionate. Now, if you don't have anybody in your life, some people honestly don't. If you do, those are your safe spaces. If you don't, that's when you look into things like life coaches, therapists, counselors, because they're
Exactly.
trained specifically for that. And I definitely believe in investing in things like that, because you're investing in you and your mental well-being. Like pride has no room on the table when it comes to picking yourself up, because getting up is not a solo job a lot of the time. It's one that involves asking for help and reaching out, whether that's to loved ones or reaching out for counseling help, whatever. And that's another thing that I've had to kind of learn in my Leoness, to put my pride to the side. There is a time and a place for pride, but definitely not when you've been emotionally knocked on your bum by life and you need a helping hand up. Like, it doesn't serve me to cut my nose off to spite my face and make out like I'm okay and hobble along. Because it makes it 10 times harder. Because the thing is in life, Reggie, let's be real, there's a hard way to do things and there's an easy way.
Yes.
At any one point in time, you can take the hard route or the easy way. Now, we are governed, we are gifted free will here as human beings. So you can choose to take the hard way. That again, that's your prerogative. Or you can choose to take an easier way. It's completely up to you. But I don't know about you, Reggie, but if I can, I would like to take the easier way. And it's taken me a little while to understand that. To make things easier on myself as much as possible, it means putting my pride to the side and going, I'm not okay. Please, could you help me, good sir, good woman? Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's hard for me because I literally sound like I'm having a fit or a stroke as I'm saying it. No, can I have? I'm not okay. It's like, but my partner James is like, "What? Are you good? Like, what's going on right now? I'm talking about my emotions. I'm not okay." He's like, "All right, it's okay." God bless him. Like, I don't know how he puts up with me half the time, to be honest, because I'm batshit crazy. You know what I mean? I'm like, I've got this. Tim's like, oh, I don't have this. And he's like, wait, a minute ago you seemed like you was cool. I just lied. I'm getting better at skipping the bullshit and going straight to the reality of how I really feel. But you have to give yourself permission to feel. And some people, they find it easier to do that. Other people, like me, I literally have to say the words, it's okay, Angie. You can cry now.
Yeah.
You can be sad today. It's okay. The world is not going to explode or shut down.
Yeah, and the thing is, see, and that's the great thing about you and your partner. I think a lot of people who are in relationships sort of miss that, is the fact that, being supportive of each other. Because if you're in a relationship, you got to have a partner that you can cry around, whether you are male or female, because everybody hurts at some point to where they like tears are gonna come.
Yeah.
So when your mate is getting kicked and getting punched, you got to allow them to have that vulnerability. You can't sit there and just be like, come on, woman, get up, or you're a man, you ain't supposed to cry. You gotta allow that person to expose those feelings. It should make your relationship stronger, because it builds a trust.
Yeah.
That you have with each other, instead of that person feeling like, okay, I got to go to the bar or go hang out somewhere else because I'm feeling sort of weak today. You can't be Superman every day. You got to realize something, that people have to take, like Superman has to take off his cape. Wonder Woman has to put the rope down, the sword.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we expect people that when they do get kicked and they're getting punished by life, that they got to keep their cape on. And sometimes you need to take that cape off and be real.
Yeah, completely. And you need to be okay with that. And I say this as a reminder to myself that what's been really great about my face breaking out in hives, and I've never thought I'd start a sentence like that, Reggie. What's been really great in my face breaking out is it's forced me to slow the fuck down. Because basically my rash on my face reacts to heat when I get hot or when I get sweaty. And Reggie knows I'm someone that likes to kind of keep active and do a lot. Do you know what I mean? Gym, physical activities. But because of this, I can't, because as soon as I get hot and sweaty, it irritates it, reflares it back up. And it's been really interesting, actually, because life has a way of sometimes teaching you lessons that you need in the strangest of ways. Like this face rash has taught me to just be at peace with taking my time with things, peace with myself and the quiet and the stillness. And generally, I thought I was good with that, but I realized that actually my life was full of a lot of distractions that meant I was always busy. And there's a difference between being busy and being genuinely happy and happy with your productivity. Do you know what I mean? Because sometimes we're just busy for the sake of being busy because we don't want to deal with things. Yeah. And then the other end is the healthy, productive, passionate way of living life. And it's not to say that I was always doing that, but a lot of the time I just kept it moving. But now life has taken this away, it's taken that away, it's taken the job away. Like a lot of things in my life that I've identified myself through my fitness, through having a job, through having certain people in my life, have all been removed in the last year. And now it's like, it's just me, myself, and I. And every time I pretend, oh, I've rested for today, I've zenned out, tomorrow let's go back to what I was doing before, my face breaks out in a rash again. And it's like I finally, yesterday, realized I'm actually going to have to just chill out because I'm clearly not okay. My body is letting me know I'm not okay. I can fool myself as much as I want by telling people, oh, I'm good, but my face doesn't lie. You're not okay. And it's hard. Like I said, it dents my ego, it dents my pride to have to admit that chink in my armor. But actually, like you said, even Superman needs to put the cape down. Even Wonder Woman needs to put her lasso of truth down. Do you know what I mean? And it's humbling, but actually it's good because it means that I'm taking the time to ask some better questions for myself. Do you know what I mean? And ask about who I want to be and what I want for my life moving forward. And those are more empowering questions than why me? Which you go through that. I think after getting hit, you are going to ask the question why. But it's just making sure you don't get caught in that loop for too long, because that's not a solution orientated question whatsoever.
That's true, and I think that's the thing that you have to it's like we're telling people it's okay to hurt, and it's okay to feel. We understand you've been kicked, you're knocked down, and you're struggling trying to find your way up. So you want to kind of deal with your emotions, but you said some key. You cannot stay there. You can't linger in that. No. Your thoughts need to be. Yeah. And some people will. Who was that? T.D. Jakes had a great sermon about drowning in shallow waters. And sometimes when we get kicked so much, we see things as being, to us, it's like, oh my God, my world is caving in. The ocean is flooding up over me. But you're really only standing in a foot of water.
Yeah. Blowing things out of perspective, right?
Yeah. Because, when you, like you said, when like 5 or 6 things hit you at one time, it is hard to kind of see like, oh my God, like everything, especially when you throw finances into it.
Oh God,
yeah. When you throw money elevates any stress level to where you feel like you're automatically drowning when you're now trying to figure out how to pay bills and how am I going to get extra money? It's like, do I need to get another job? Can I find another job? Or, how am I going to pay this? Can I remove this? We call it, what is it? Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Taking a credit card to pay off the credit card to pay off the credit card.
Exactly. And people get in situations to where you're dealing with finances, you're dealing with health, You're dealing with your personal thoughts and emotions. You're dealing with your life in itself as far as maybe not being where you want to be. You can feel overwhelmed. You can feel like, gosh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm stuck. And you feel tired. You feel drained. And honestly, sometimes, and this is just my personal belief. I don't want to put this on the rest of the world. It's my personal belief.
Okay, hit me with them.
because it actually happened to me. It was basically like I couldn't understand. It's like everything got stripped away.
Yeah.
Everything. And I ended up finding myself in another state, no family, no friends, and it was just me. And the hardest part was just kind of figure out, like for me, it was kind of like, because at that time I was a director at a college. I'm like, so all of these people that I helped out who were so-called friends, where the hell y'all at right now?
Yeah.
I was getting no phone calls. Nobody was reaching out to me. Nobody was checking on me. I'm in a state where I don't know nobody. And it was just kind of like, literally, it's like I had no friends other than the waitresses or waiters who were being nice because they wanted a tip. And it became a very lonely thing. Because I had to, it took me a couple months, but then I started to really kind of evaluate the people that I call friends. I started to evaluate, how did I get into this situation? Why am I here? Why am I struggling to find a place? Everything was just coming down. Yeah. So I started blaming myself. Then I got mad at other people. Then I loved myself.
Yeah.
Then I hated other people. So it was just a big whirlpool. But now that I look back, that was probably one of the best things that happened.
Oh, yeah. Like, you got beauty for your ashes, as the Bible says.
Yeah, because I realized that a lot of those people were not, the people, like the one guy who I thought was a friend, I really thought we were good friends. Then when I started thinking like, well, geez, the only time he ever called to hang out was when he needed something. Or he was flying back into Atlanta. Then it was like, oh, hey, buddy, what's going on? Can you pick me up from the airport? So, I really started to look at the people that I call friends. I really started to look at the circles I had around me. And I realized I was making poor choices in people. I wasn't really connecting with people that was adding anything to my life.
Yeah. I think that's the good thing about contrast. Like, I love the statement. Like, I'm not a particularly religious person, but I think there's wisdom to be gained from most everything. Do you know what I mean? If you can find it. And God will give you beauty for your ashes. And another way I look at that is that contrast in life provides you clarity, because you're never clearer about what you do want until you experience what you don't want. At the time, it feels like bullshit, and it feels like a lot, and it feels like you're being taking a hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
But actually, like you said, because those sort of stages, those emotional stages you mentioned about being angry and then mad at people, those are the emotional stages that you need to go through. And I think if you allow yourself the space and time to go through them, eventually you come to the point where you start asking real questions and really viewing things from a more objective standpoint, where you're not in the middle of the whirlwind and going, why me? This sucks. Once you go through those anger, mourning, grieving stages, eventually everything settles and quiets down enough that you can really take stock of your life, where you are and where you want to go. And like you said, you start reviewing things like your social circles and the people around you. And I can definitely relate to that, Reggie. I feel like that's where I'm at right now. And there is, and I'm not too prideful to put my hand up to say there's a part of me that definitely would like to go back to what things were before, because it's that saying, better the devil you know. That's how people stay in relationships and jobs that they don't like or can't stand, because I don't like my partner, or I hate this job, but at least I know where I stand in it. But actually, as a human being, as I've said before, we're all worthy of living a life that does not require us to suffer first. You are worthy of having a group of people that are for you and empower you. You are worthy of working in a place that actually you enjoy. You're worthy of being in a relationship that is loving and giving. And I think we can often find ourselves settling for the devil that we know, because we're too afraid to kind of step outside that comfort zone and try something new and seek something different or more. And right now, when things are being stripped away from me, there is a part of me that is almost slightly romanticizing certain elements of, oh, that job that I lost, or oh, that friends that I had, or oh, that situation. But you weren't happy in them things. Like, don't fool yourself.
Yeah.
like, take off the romanticizing goggles and really look at it. And I think once you go through the grieving stages of taking hits, you do start to really evaluate things from a more objective standpoint of, actually, were those friends really for me? Actually, did I even really enjoy that job? And the answer is, Reggie, for me personally, I weren't really enjoying my job. The job was for the purpose of paying a bill. You know, my friendship circles have changed. We've grown apart, we've changed. We're different people now, so we don't connect the same way. You know what I mean? And it's like, actually, take a look at the opportunity. Because what people don't understand is when things like this happen, it's an opportunity for you to redefine and re-clarify who you want to be. And you said something to me, Reggie, when in my birthday week that reminded me of why I had the phoenix tattoo on my back of, see your birthday as a rebirth. See it as redefining who I want to be and what I want moving forward. And that really impacted me. So thank you, Reggie, for those words. I told you at the time, thank you. But thank you so much, my good friend. Thank you for that. But it did. It really impacted me and reminded me that's why my website is called Rise of the Phoenix. That's why my tattoo on my back is the phoenix. Because for me, it's about rebirth. But the whole theory and the whole mythology. I'm a voiceover artist. This is disgusting. I can't even talk today. Goddamn. The mythology behind the phoenix, which I love, is the phoenix must go through the fire first before it is reborn. And the key word is it must go through the fire. And this kind of baptism of fire that we go through during contrast, the only way out is through. You cannot go over your problems under it, put it in a box, sweep it under the carpet. You must kind of go through it and feel every fucking aspect of it. And yeah, it is very painful, the crucible of the fire. But it's also, fire is also, sometimes it does mean letting go of relationships that didn't serve you. Sometimes it does mean leaving that job that actually you weren't happy at. Sometimes it does mean ending relationships that actually you'd outgrown. And I think the beautiful thing about life is if you don't pay heed to the warning signs, as you said, Reggie, life will just do it for you.
Yeah, it will.
It will, and sometimes it's painful, and it's not always beautiful and glorious, but actually, in the long run, it does serve you. And you just have to kind of keep going. Every experience we go through serves us. Look, I love the saying that every experience we go through serves to form the whole of you. So every moment is a learning moment, whether we see it straight away or not. Everything everyone has been through in their own life has formed every layer of who you are and allowed you to evolve and become clearer about what you want to do next. It's just making sure that you don't get too lost looking backwards and romanticizing the past, and make sure you keep your eyes looking forward. I think is the key point I'm definitely learning as well.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Is like you have to look forward. And when we do get stuck in situations to where we feel like we're kind of beaten down a little bit, we're so busy looking back on everything that we lost, looking back at our problems, that we don't look forward to see, okay, what can come out of this? What are the new opportunities that can grow from this? Because I don't like, some people like the word failure. I like a life stop is what I like to call it. I don't like the word failure. I like a life stop. It's like a speed bump in the road. It makes you slow down to think about where you're going and what you're doing.
Yeah. And we need more of that. We need more pause moments.
Yeah.
I think in first world, we are all about the go, get you go. We are always on the move. We are never and that was the one beautiful thing I loved about lockdown personally. Amount of time we had to reflect and really evaluate ourselves, because we had nothing but time. There was no nightclubs as a distraction. There was no restaurants as a distraction. There was no, do you know what I mean? Restaurants and foods that we could distract ourselves with. It was just us and all this time at home with people in our lives or by ourselves. And yeah, sometimes it can feel overwhelming if you're not used to giving yourself that pause time. But for me personally, I've come to realize that how unhealthy is it, Angie, that you're not really good with taking a pause? How busy do you keep yourself that you don't even you're not good with taking time? It's got to be balanced. There's a time for productivity and moving, and then there's time for stillness and reflection and quiet time.
Yeah, and because I hear a lot of people talking self-care. And some of the stuff I do agree with. But you make a great point. Everything right now is all about hustle. That's all you hear. You got to hustle. You got to grind. You got to hustle. You got to grind. And that's the mentality they're sort of putting in everybody right now. Just keep going. Just keep going. It's like, no, call time out. Stop. You know, and just try to figure things out for a moment. You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Balance. Yin to yang.
Exactly.
Yeah, like people forget there's a duality in life. Life is not all just one thing. It's not all stop and stillness. Do you know what I mean? But it's not all going. You need moments of both. And also being busy for the sake of being busy, just so that you can tell people, oh, I seem to be busy. I'm hustling. It's like, okay, but if you actually evaluate what you're doing, do you even want to do what you're doing? Or are you just doing it to keep up with people and what the trend is? Do you even enjoy what you're doing? Do you even know why you're doing it? You know what I mean? Like, why are you even doing it? There's at the moment of seeming to be productive and busy just to look like you're doing something. And I can definitely put my hand up and say I've been guilty of that. It's definitely something we're programmed to do because, you know what I mean? Like, people will ask you, how was your day? What did you do today? And, like, we immediately jump to list these things that we've done because otherwise we feel guilty for, like, not saying we've done something supposedly productive. But actually, the biggest gift that, for me personally, that I feel like I've given myself is time, Reggie. Time. Time to think, time to stop, time to heal, time to dream, time to plan, time. Like, how much time do adults really give themselves to do any of those things I just mentioned? I personally probably didn't give myself that much time. And yeah, it gets a bit overwhelming now that I've got all this time on my hands because I'm not used to it. But actually, as each day comes and I surrender, like one of my favorite CC Winans song, I Surrender All. Sometimes you just need to surrender and just let go with the motherfucking oars and let Jesus take the wheel. And, you know, Jesus, Allah, Buddha, the universe, whatever the hell you want to label it as, okay? Sometimes you need to get your hands up and admit that actually life is very much out of your control. And the only thing that you can control is your own emotions and the perspective you take on life in terms of how you relate to life. Are you seeing it as, like you said, a failure, a loser, blah, 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 or are you seeing life as a lesson and that you're always evolving and therefore you're winning? And that's kind of the tactic, that's the perspective that I choose to take. That's the only thing we've got control over, Reggie, is our perspective on life and our own emotions. Everything else is out of our control. It's a myth, people. This is the Matrix.
Yeah, because you're not going to be able to control everything.
You can't control yourself.
Not. And no matter how detailed you plan something out, it's guaranteed something's going to go wrong.
Yeah, or something will change and it will deviate.
Yeah, because I've seen people to where they, you know, everything was going good. They get into a relationship, the relationship fails. And even though people was telling them, that's not the person for you. They keep going into it. And when things go bad, they kind of want to like, oh, you know, I lost a relationship. I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't a good relationship. You were husband number 10. It's like, you know, we want to hold on to things that's really kind of pulling us back and keeping us to where we can't get up.
Yeah, I feel like go on, sorry.
No. Yeah, it's like you basically got like a 100-pound weight tied to your shoulders and you're dragging it everywhere you go and you're wondering why everybody's passing you by.
And that you're tired.
Yeah.
Stop dragging the weight, motherfucker. Yeah, like, I feel like, one, you made a good point. Don't be holding on to things just because you're afraid of letting go. And two, don't plan yourself out of actually experiencing life. You can get so caught up on the plan, the list. And I think women are big fans of that. We're big fans of having lists and plans. And I'm not knocking the idea of having a purpose in life and having a goal. I think it's what gives you direction and purpose as a human being living life. However, please know, life is a lot more fluid than the plan and the ideas we have in our mind. And if you need kind of saying it needs to be exactly this on my list, on my plan, you could miss out on something way better than you could ever have imagined. And that's one thing I've come to realize about life is you can plan till you're blue in the face, baby. But I'll tell you this, life always has something way more than you could have ever comprehended. So learn to be kind of open and more adaptable with your plan to take the hits and the flows and changes of life that it will throw at you. Because if you're so like, no, I need a man who gives me this, this, and this, you can end up missing out on something that is way better for you. And you end up having this beautiful relationship with this person, but because they don't hit certain things on your list, you're dismissing it.
Yes.
You can miss out on life if you're only doing things one way or your way, and you only take this one path. Life is many paths. Be open to that.
Yeah, and a lot of people are not. It's like if one thing alters away from how they saw the plan working out, all of a sudden the world is now over. Throw it away.
That's it.
It's done.
Yeah.
Not working. Okay. You're supposed to pick up your toothbrush with your left hand. You pick it up with your right. This relationship is not going to work. You're not the woman for me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wedding is off.
That's not to be. You know what I mean? I can't marry you. You're left-handed. No. No, it's true though. Like, and to be fair, I'm saying this because it's something I've had to remind myself of. Like this year, I thought I had a plan, Reggie. Get a job, use the money to pay off certain debts, get myself back on track. I had a 5-year plan, and I'm organized up to a certain point. When it comes to things in my life, I'm not someone who generally likes to plan ahead. But so this is the first time I had a plan, and I'm not gonna lie. When the job got taken away, I was like, "What the fuck? No, I had no!" And I think it's only now, a month and a bit later, that I'm accepting that. Okay, so the plan has changed, but that doesn't mean life's over, or that you give up now, or it's done. You just need to chill out and reevaluate. And you've got to be kind to yourself. Like, I'm reminding myself that I'm at where I'm at, and I'm progressing at the pace that's right for me. Mm-hmm. You don't need to rush how you move through life or how you get over things based on what someone else says or what other people expect of you. Different subjects in our life, we'll be able to move through those contrasts and pains quicker than compared to other subjects. You know what I mean? And there's no wrong or right way on how you process life and how you pick yourself up. Pick yourself up the best way that's for you, and do it in a compassionate and loving way for you, and fuck anyone else who tells you to hurry the hell up, because they're not you and they don't have to walk in your shoes. And again, I say this as a reminder myself, because sometimes we have these expectations of what will my partner think, what will my friends think, what will my children think. And yeah, life would be nice if we all were moving on the same page, but actually some things hit as hard as than others, and that's okay. You need to take a little bit extra time to catch your breath. That was a hard sucker punch that life delivered to you.
And that's true. But people are just, you have to accept the fact that it's like, I'm trying to put this into words. Because it's like now, like one thing I'm seeing now is that when a person gets hit hard, like especially over here, it's like they just go into this whole thing of I'm done. Like that's the United States sort of mentality about things. It's like I'm just done. It's not gonna get better. And I'm like, huh?
They give up.
Yeah, they give up, and it's like, even though I know you.
Do you mean the land of the free and brave give up? What? I say that mockingly, land of the free.
Oh, so do we. But it's just, and I think over here. Well, I think it's everywhere. I'm not gonna say just over here. But the thing about it is, a lot of people get so caught up when you start getting into the news, getting into the media. A lot of people don't really focus on what are you surrounding yourself with, because I personally believe that you gotta have something that pulls you from a dark place. What is it that pulls you from a dark place? And a lot of people just can't seem to find it. Like when you start to feel like you can't love anymore, you start to feel like you can't get any better in life. There has to be something in you that motivates you. Like for parents, it could be a child. You know, or it could be a husband for a wife, or a boyfriend for a girlfriend. There has to be something in your life that you have to find that makes you say, I got to get up. I can't stay here. I can't lay here. I can't wallow in this. You know, I can't hold on to this. You got to have something that makes you realize that I can't stay in this place because this person or my ambitions is pulling me in this direction, not in the direction of just laying here in the mud. Like I tell this, somebody got mad at me for saying this, because they said like if you saw somebody sitting down and depressed and crying, would you sit next to them and comfort them? I said no. I said I would stand up beside them, but I wouldn't sit down. Because if I sit down beside somebody who's depressed and crying, now you got both of us sitting there, and it's going to be harder for me to lift you up. And you want that person to look up and see that there is an up. So I'd rather stand beside that person and help them come up that way than sit beside them trying to get myself up, then trying to get them up.
Yeah, okay. Because at first when you're saying, I was like, I don't know if I agree with that. But then as you continued speaking, I got where you was going. And I think the key word in what you're trying to say is when someone is down, you don't necessarily need to lower yourself down and be depressed with them. That doesn't serve anybody. It's like it's about kind of like showing support, and showing them that okay, it's effectively you got to hold the light for them, because
Exactly.
that person is in the dark and they feel like that's it. It's all darkness. There is no more light. And I think your job, if you're supporting someone who's in that state, is to keep holding the light for them. Keep shining the light so that they know there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There is a light in the darkness. And you also have to kind of try and keep that for yourself. And I think I agree with you to a certain point on the whole ways to motivate yourself, whether that's for a partner or a child or whatever. I think that's really lovely, but sometimes that's not always an option. And also, you've also got to find a way to motivate yourself for yourself. Like, unless you're dead, life ain't over yet. So if you've still got air and breath in your lungs, there is more to life to live, and therefore for you to enjoy and experience. That in itself should be motivation enough to keep going. I'm not saying you're not going to take the hits and it's not going to feel sucky, because like I said yesterday, I told Reggie this yesterday. I was having a tough emotional time. I was reevaluating things, and I was feeling down, but I try and remember based on another. I'm covered in tattoos, but I make myself sound like I'm covered in tattoos, but I'm really not. I've got 4, but I've got a tattoo on my wrist that my brother did for me, and it said, "Hope is the anchor to my soul." And that to me is an anchor quote to remind me that actually there is still life to live. And no one can live my life for me. No one is going to walk the steps for me. People can definitely support me and hold the light for me. And I think you definitely need that, because no man is an island. But life is for the living. I'm not dead yet. Get up and go figure it out and experience it. I think something that we need to remember as adults is, just because you're an adult doesn't mean you need to have everything all figured out. No one's ever said that. I don't know where this myth has come from that you're an adult now, have your shit together 24/7, know exactly what you're doing in all minutes of the day. Like,
Yeah.
no, life is one big constant fucking learning lesson. Like, it's the school of life. It's the school of life, my friends. Every day we have to show up to class. And the only way you can learn is providing a safe, open, compassionate space for yourself to know that sometimes you're going to stumble as you're learning. But life is for the living, and that's kind of what I remind myself of. And some days that works, and some days I need to lean a little bit more heavily on those that I love around me, and they hold the light. Like you said, if I'm down, they stand up beside me, so that I can lean on them, or they can help me stand up. But life is for living, people. It ain't over until the fat lady sings. And she ain't singing yet.
Yeah, because it's tough. And I know a lot of people right now are still trying to figure things out.
Oh, yeah. I'm in that boat. I'm with you, people. I'm with you in the boat.
Yeah, it's like people are still trying to figure things out. And it's like the biggest thing is trying to figure out, like, where do I fit in this world? Like, what is my contribution? And most people just want to contribute. They just want to feel like they're contributing to this world, be it do something like where they're contributing by helping other people. And some people just want to know, how am I make a difference to where I'm contributing to my own life, to where I'm releasing my creativity. I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, something that I enjoy doing. I wake up to. Like, I'm fulfilled. And that's what most people want. And when you can't find that or you're searching for it, it kind of makes you feel like you're sort of in like this limbo stage.
You're speaking my language right now. That's pretty much how I feel, Reggie.
Yeah.
And it's okay to feel like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, you make a good point. I think people don't ask about what do you enjoy. You know, if you ask the average adult, what do you enjoy? What makes you happy? Most people can't really answer that. Like, and when I ask that question, people, I don't mean, oh, clothes, shoes, bags, holidays. Now, don't get me wrong. You can enjoy those things, please. They're there for the enjoyment. But actually, what makes you tick as an individual? What are your interests? What sparks your creativity? What sparks your mind? What can you get yourself lost in for hours and time loses all meaning? Most people can't actually really answer that question. And I feel like if you can't answer that and you don't know that, what are we here for? Like, life is for the living. Enjoy it. Find something that you enjoy or you want to learn more about or you'd love to learn to do. And do that. Give your day and your time meaning. Because purpose and meaning is different to each individual. And I'm still discovering that myself. You know, as some of your listeners may or may not know, I've recently got into poetry. I've recently got into video editing and creating video poems. And I created my very own first portfolio website. And it was scary, but you know, something that I keep reminding myself of, and sometimes I forget, and luckily James reminds me, is you have to remember to celebrate your triumphs after making it through a contrasting experience. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate every step that you make forward, because sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes them steps are hard fucking won, people. And we don't take enough time to celebrate that. We're just so busy keeping moving that you don't celebrate your growth. Celebrate yourself.
Yeah, because a lot of people wait for somebody else to acknowledge something that they're done and celebrate them. And it may never happen.
Or the way you want it to. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever. Yeah. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself, people. You are here. You're pushing through. If you can find a way to laugh, smile, and love after life knocks you in the kahunas, then you need to celebrate the shit out of that. And sometimes we forget that because we get so caught up in the doing and they just keep going. But actually, you got to celebrate your growth. I guarantee you, who we are today is not who we were yesterday, last year, 10 years ago. I definitely know I've grown and changed, and I congratulate myself. And sometimes it might feel silly at the time, saying, well done, Angie. But I have to, because otherwise, what are we here for? Celebrate yourself. Remember to celebrate your own accomplishments and those around you that you love as well. Do a group celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Celebration.
Yeah, it's like people. I don't know why people don't feel like they can't celebrate themselves. I don't know if they see it as being arrogant or being cocky, but no, it's like, be proud of what you accomplished. Be proud of your self growth.
Hell yeah.
You know, be proud of it. Don't hide it. Don't be like, oh, yeah, I matured. I don't think the way I used to. Oh, okay, well, you know, nobody else noticed it, so,
Now celebrate that shit.
Yeah, celebrate it.
Every step is hard won. Every hill you've climbed was not an easy one, and you had to walk those shoes and make those decisions that got you to where you are now in a different state and a different person. And that's no small thing. You're out here living your life trying to be the best version of you. You should definitely celebrate that. It's not a given. Some people don't do that, and some people give up. But if you've chosen to keep pushing yourself and evolving, celebrate your shit, man. You deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, even you got to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I did it.
Yeah. Listen, I talk to my cat all the time, and myself. My cat thinks I'm crazy. The cat's like, do I give a shit, though? Where's my food?
Yeah.
No one cares, lady. But I tell him anyway. No, like, on a real people, celebrate yourself. And I tell, again, words for me to remember. Because life is really not that serious. We got to remember, even in moments of darkness, there is always light. And you got to remember, you cannot appreciate the light without the darkness anyway. You know what I mean? Like, when you're in moments of darkness, when you do finally make it to the light, it's all that much more dazzling and beautiful because of the darkness.
That is true, and I think a lot of people you can't have one hand in the door to past and one in the door in the present. You just got to shut that door. Live your life. It's tough. It's hard, but the only way to get back up and move on with your life is let go of the things that you can no longer keep in your life.
Oh my God, yeah.
You can't think people back into your life. You can't think money back into your life. None of that. It happened. They came, they saw, they left. You live.
Right. Oh, reminds me of that Beyonce song. I was here, I lived, I loved. Well, this wouldn't be a show if I went randomly singing, was it? It wouldn't be. I really do hope like the listeners gain something. I definitely did. It reminded me to not lose sight of hope. It reminded me that it's okay to be not okay, and that I have to give myself permission to feel, and that it's about making sure you ask the right empowering questions about what you want to do next, who you want to be, and what sort of life do you want to live. And also, how do you want, when you imagine your future version of yourself and your future life, how do you want to feel?
Yes.
When you imagine that, focus on that. Do you want to feel happy, excited, anticipating? Do you know what I mean? Like, focus on that, and that is your fuel, people, to keep you going.
And that's a good point. You gotta focus on that. You got to.
Yeah, man. And it's like, it's okay to focus on how you feel, because I think our emotions are a good guidance. They're a good guidance tool on realizing if you're in a good situation or not. Because how you feel is a great indicator about, this is good. This is a good situation I'm in, or not a good situation, or this is a great relationship, not a great relationship. I love this job. I don't love this job. It's our emotions. Because if we didn't have that, Reggie, I think our life would be way more fucked. Let's be real. We'd have no clue. Like, so do you love this person? Nah. Do you like your job? Nah. Our emotions are our guidance system. They are your sat navs to tell you stop, brake, left, right, turn around, drop it down, break it low. Sorry, I don't know where I went with that. But like, they're your guidance system, so don't beat yourself up on your emotions. Again, this is a message to me. It's okay, because sometimes when you feel sad, it's to let you know something's not right here. Take stock, evaluate. Oh, I feel excited. This is great. Let's do more of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
keep it up.
I need to do that. That's something I'm bad at. I need to do that.
What's that? Like, gauge your emotions or whatever, or pay heed to your emotions?
Oh my God, gauge my emotions. Oh, wow. Okay.
What is this you're talking about, Angelique? Emotions? Is this word in the English language? Yes, Batman. I keep calling him Batman because it's a running joke between Reggie that he lives in his Batcave. And he's stoic, like the Dark Knight. It's like, no, it's okay to say you're not okay. Well, the Dark Knight is never not okay. He has his shit together and his utility belt at all times. I got this.
Oh, man.
Yeah, even when wounded, I take it like a G, because I am the Dark Knight.
Because that is I don't want to say it's a flaw.
It's part of your character you're learning to evolve through. That's all.
Yeah, because I can talk to people and totally be emotionally screwed and still be like, hey, yeah, yes. That is a great point.
Everything has its time and its place, though, because it does mean that you're able to kind of soldier on probably a lot easier than others, but it does also mean you're bleeding out and you don't know you're bleeding out, fam. You're not acknowledging it. It's like, is that blood, Reggie? Nah, don't worry about it. It's tomato ketchup. It's tomato sauce. What? No, nigga, you took a shot. I think you need to rest. Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, the blood cells replenish that stuff.
See, people like me and you, because I'm pretty much the same, we're the people you want around in immediate emergencies. We're the ones that can keep a calm, level head. We don't freak out. We're the ones that go, okay, you go get some water. You chill out. You do. Like, we're the ones that are calm. Like, in an emergency, I'm the calmest motherfucker you'll ever see. Like, you won't see me flat, freak out. I used to be a wedding planner and event organizer, so you need to keep your head on you because things can change in a minute. And the woman I used to work with, she was like, I really love how calm you stay. Because I'm like, you don't know my childhood. I was like, this ain't shit. So I'm definitely the calmest person under pressure and under panic. But that does also mean, because I'm so used to numbing that part of myself, that I forget to take the numb switch off and put on feel emotion afterwards. And I think that's probably something me and you have to work on, is like, okay, switch the numb switch off. Let's go back to feeling. You're not a robot. It's like, oh, I'm Another robot? Oh yeah, crap. And the problem with that is that I don't know if you have this, but for me personally, where I'm so used to numbing myself and just keep going, whenever I do flip the switch and go back to feeling mode, it hits me like a ton of bricks because it's all stockpiled up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, why am I so sad on a Tuesday and it's sunny? What's going on? It's like you switched on the emotion switch and all that shit that you pretended you didn't feel. Now you're feeling. It's like, no, switch the numb switch back on. I don't like this. I'm trying to get better at having a better balance. Do you know what I mean? So that it doesn't hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah, because it will. And it has got me in trouble a couple times because I've been in that mode where, like you said, I've had the numb switch on and somebody will walk up. And seriously, this really happened to say something like, yeah, you know, my father or mother or somebody passed away like 2 days ago. Like, okay. And it's kind of like, did you think just hear what I said?
No,
sir,
no,
I just
truly,
said
it's a dark night. I see. It's like, nigga, did you say I see? I just said I loved a lost spot. It's like, I see this.
Yeah, like, okay. And then it didn't hit me till later, like, oh crap. Like, I hope he's okay. You know, it's like,
whoops, too late now. That person's never speaking to me again.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's something you should work on, Reggie. As one friend to another, that if I tell you someone's died and you say, okay, I'm going to reach through the phone and bitch slap you. I'm just going to let you know that. Live on air, I'm letting people know. I will do it. I feel no way. Like, hey! Batman! Switch off the numb switch. Back to humanity, please. Man said, okay, you know. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the first words that came out. I don't know.
I'm not laughing at you. Well, I am, but I'm laughing with you as well because I get it. I know sometimes like when you're used to being a soldier and soldiering on, you're not used to kind of going, oh my god, are you okay? It's like, how do we fix this?
Yeah.
No, there's no fixing. They're dead. I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is outside of my program, my software protocols. I'm not really sure what I should do now. Malfunction, brain malfunction.
And that's what it feels like.
Well, yes, I really do hope the listeners enjoyed this. I actually wanted to end today's episode reading one of my poems, if you will permit me, good sir.
Oh, we would love that.
You say we, that's just you. The listeners are like, poetry! Pause. I'm tuning off this episode now. If poetry's not your thing, people, please feel free to tune off now. And I wish you to thank you. I send you good thanks for listening up until this point. However, if a bit of poetry is your thing, please continue listening. Yeah, I just wanted to read a poem. It's one I wrote actually at the beginning of this year in March, and it's called In the Darkness. And it's about the sentiment of reminding ourselves that it's only in the darkness can you appreciate the light, and that everything we go through serves us. So just remember, this shall too pass, and actually in this darkness you find yourself, and in the light you appreciate it just that much more because of it. And so the poem, and of course, is titled In the Darkness. A bit on the nose, do you think, maybe?
A little.
Sometimes it's alright to just point it out, make it obvious.
Exactly.
I believe sometimes. Why you gotta make people work so hard? Do you know what I mean? Make it easy for them, make it on the nose. Okay, so this one is called In the Darkness. It's only in the darkness I can appreciate the light. Pain-filled moments give measure to all that is bright. Star-filled trail of breadcrumbs leading me through the darkness. Whispered words of love giving balance to all my inner sharpness. I wake from endless days of eternal spiritual slumber, my heart yearning to break free, to be released from encumber. As I walk this path towards freedom and salvation, I feel those burdens leave me, no longer a soul of isolation. You see, it's only in the darkness I can appreciate the light. New beginnings abounds to my heart and mind's delight. That is In the Darkness, people.
By Angelique.
Franklin, don't forget that.
No, but that was really good. You know, listen, she writes some beautiful poetry.
Oh, shucks.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much.
She
You're not so
really
bad yourself.
does.
Hidden poet here, people, just so you know, hidden poet. Out here shining lights. I'm going to shine the light in your ass too. Thank you. I receive it. But you're also a great poet too. I've heard some of your stuff, been very honored to. And hopefully one day you all get to, rejoice in your words, my friend.
Now, she has more poetry on her website.
Yes. Good way to throw that off the light of you. You think I don't know what you're doing? But it's okay. I'll let that slide. Yes, I do have a website, and it's called phoenixrises.online, and it is my portfolio site where I have my poetry, and I like to do video poetry. Why? Because I'm extra. I can't just read the words. I have to create videos for it too. And actually, I feel like it adds a little bit something different.
It really does.
Yeah, so I release video poetry. There's photography on there, and there's also my actual written poetry as well. So check it out, phoenixrises.online, or you can follow me on Instagram, because that's the only place you're going to find me, because I don't give a shit about Twitter, Facebook, fucking Snapchat, whatever the other bloody sites are. I can't keep up. I'm only on Instagram, and it's Angelique_Franklin.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about none of it.
I don't care about any of that other shit.
I do not, because I cannot keep up. Twitter with his 160 characters bullshit. Fucking Facebook, friends with people that I don't really know or talk to in real life.
Exactly.
Like I don't have time for it. I like Instagram purely because it's a great picture book and I get to be nosy. I'm keeping it 100. I get to be nosy, get to see other people's lives, get to keep up to date with the latest things going on in the world, and I get to share some of my stuff. That's purely why I like Instagram. But outside of that, middle finger to the rest of them. Because I ain't got time for it. I do not have time for it.
You laugh at this all day long.
Fuck a Twitter is what I say. Fuck a Twitter.
Oh my goodness.
Good God. But yes, did you enjoy today's episode of Rising Strong, Batman?
I did. I really did. And there's always just some great points that came out. Because it made me even think about myself, like, okay, this is some shit I need to work on.
That's a good thing, right? It's all about learning.
It really is. It really is.
It is. And I hope that the listeners enjoyed it. I hope they can relate to it, I hope they didn't mind hearing about the fact that I'm feeling a little lost right now. But I do feel like I'm slowly finding my feet and I'm getting there. I just need to have patience, little brother, for myself. Just have patience with yourself, people. That's what I can say. Be kind and be patient. Oh my God. Be kind, compassionate, and patient with oneself, and you will give yourself time to rise, man, after you fall. Do you like that? I closed it with the beginning title of the episode.
That was perfect.
Snazzy. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Straight Talk Show with Reggie Maddox. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our podcast to your friends and colleagues. And please leave us a positive review on iTunes. Be sure to check out our archive section on iTunes, Spotify, Libsyn, and YouTube. Join us next time for another edition of the Simply Straight Talk Show.